What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Diary of a Sales Engineer with your host, Samir Sahai Kosser, and his best homie,
Ryan Kruger. And today we are going to be talking about a LinkedIn post that I had that went pretty viral in the world of LinkedIn the other week. You will notice I'm wearing a Topps baseball shirt today. We are getting closer and closer to baseball season. But the post in question today, or the post that really took off, is the one I had around saying no as an SE. So I'm going to read off for the first time here on the podcast one of our posts, but we're going to use this as a jumping off point in today's conversation because I think it'll be interesting to kind of frame it around there. So the post is, if your SE has never told you no, you don't have a partner, you have an order taker. The best SEs I've ever worked with push back constantly. Why are we offering a POC? Let's slow this down. Why did you tell them I'd build that? That's not conflict, that's partnership. Your SE's job isn't just to demo, it's to protect the deal. And sometimes protecting the deal means telling you something you don't want to hear. If your SE says yes to everything, you're not getting their best, you're just getting compliance. So this took off. And the reason why I think this took off is because it's super relatable. Most posts that do take off are pretty relatable. And really, like, to be like quite fair and quite transparent, like early on in my career, I had no clue how to say no. In fact, actually, like, my perception of like the role as AESE was kind of like, the typical stereotype, right? Like AE quarterbacks the deal. Maybe like an SE, you're a wide receiver, you're catching passes, you're the running back, is the play called to you, you take the ball. But that's not how the AE-SE relationship actually works in practice. It's just like a bad adage for what the relationship actually looks like. Because honestly, like, it's our duty as SEs to push back on our reps and help them understand when they can't see something that we can. And that's where, like, when you have that partnership with your AE to push back, that's when your relationship is flourishing. And if you're not doing that, trust me when I say, like, things are not going to work out as well, because you're going to get into some deal cycles that are not properly vetted, where you're chasing down bad opportunities and you're wasting time and you're spinning cycles. It's happened to me in the past. I know what that feels like, to spin cycles on deals. And you're like, you get that meeting on your calendar, Sabir, and it's the 10th time you're meeting with X company. You're like, we've met with them 9 previous times. We meet with them every month. Like, nothing's happening here. Why am I getting on another call to do another demo with somebody else that's never going to buy something? But I'm an SE. I just got to show up. I got to do my thing. Like, that's where you need to push back and say, hey, I don't think this is a really good opportunity. We should be focused elsewhere. You could tell your rep that. Your rep will focus elsewhere, and good things will happen.
I think that comes to the bigger and broader theme that we've said many times on this pod is we are strategic partners and not just like people who come in, not just the technical resource, not just someone who comes in and demos. Really important that you, first off, look at yourself as a strategic partner. Similar to you early on in my career, I was always told by leadership that, the AEs quarterback the deals. AEs quarterback the deals. AEs quarterback the deals. And that, like, internalized it. And also because of that, it's like, since they're quarterbacking the deals, like, I just sit back and let them tell me what to do when they need it, and they're right. And hands off, almost like relinquished my responsibility. But it really didn't help me, didn't help my AE, didn't help the company for me to do that. And as soon as that shift happens of, all right, well, I am a strategic partner in this deal. I have an opinion. I see things differently. I might have a different angle on it. And if I bring it up, it leads to us spending our time efficiently and also not wasting our time on the 10th call with a customer who is not clearly going to buy when we have 3 other customers we could have been talking to at that same time. And so I feel like the reason that post popped off was, one, when you are a new SE, I feel like everyone is just timid. And maybe I'm making a broad statement, but I'm speaking for myself. I'm speaking for you. When we first started this career, I was super, super timid. I was like, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I'm so, like, lucky to even get this position. And there's, like, a sense of gratitude. And of course, like, there's importance in that. But at the same time, it's like, you got that position to understand how the technology fits within your prospect's ecosystem and how it also fits within your company's broader vision. that you need to bring that insight to the table and not just wait until you're tapped in. You're not sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. You are actively participating in the game, actively calling the plays that you think you should run. And if you tell your AE, no, I don't think that's the right idea for XYZ reason, it only is going to benefit the company. And I think another thing is that we don't realize, that I didn't realize early on, is it is our duty to protect the company from shitty deals. Like, flat out, like, the AE doesn't have that technical know-how, and that's not their responsibility. It's our responsibility to say, hey, this is going to push our product into a place that we do not want to go. We don't support it, even if it's even if it's a 50K, 60K, 100K deal, it's going to bankrupt our engineering team because they're going to have to shift resources that way. And we have to say that. And that's where like saying no becomes so powerful of like, yes, AE, I know you have your quota. I have my quota too, but this is a bad deal for us because of these multiple reasons. Instead, we should be chasing these other three that we've been working on. That's really important. You have to have the instead part, because otherwise they're just going to think, oh, the SE is just always shooting our
Yeah.
things down.
That's a negotiation tactic, right? Like you got to know how to negotiate with your rep to help them see your viewpoint too, right? Help them focus on the things that need to be focused on. Hey, when we focus on the other three customers instead, what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to win business versus when we go into this one customer, they're going to take away a lot of our time. So we're not going to be able to focus on those three. And those three have like a real shot at closing, right? That's a negotiation. But something you said, Samir, like, and this is super fun for us. Like we've been doing this long enough now where like some of the conversations we've had, like, tie into previous conversations we've had. And so I'm actually thinking of the episode we did with Alice and around this idea of like when you view yourself as only the technical resource on a deal, then that's all you are. And that's the timid SE, right? Like that's the timid SE. I'm your technical resource. That's all I am. And that's why we can't show up. And that's why we can't introduce ourselves as I'm Ryan. I'm your technical resource. I'm here to help you, blah, blah, blah. And we worked with Alice on that too to come up, what would you say better? Right. And now I show up to my calls and I say, hey, I'm Ryan. I've been working in this space for X amount of years, working with companies just like yourself, solving similar problems and similar challenges. I am here to help you find solutions to those challenges. So let me know how I can help today. And when we get into a demonstration, I'll be the one walking you through that and showing you how this product can change your day-to-day world. Bam. See how, I mean, like, look, timidness is gone. I'm now a strategic player in the deal. Now, because I'm a strategic player in the deal, my rep views me as strategic. The customer views me as strategic. I'm no longer timid because I have a say and my voice can now be heard. I'm no longer viewing myself as only the technical resource that's going to be brought in here. And that's where like you and your AE can partner really well and saying like, look, man, as your partner on this deal, what I'm hearing from the customer is this. And when I've worked with other customers that say this, typically it means they're not going to buy. And when they're not going to buy, it means we need to go fish elsewhere. And guess what? The best reps in the world that I've worked with, dude, boom. I agree. Go hunt where there are things to hunt. The worst reps I've worked with are always the ones that are like, no, 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 I swear. Even though we've gone to this pond 10 times and we haven't caught a fish, like I want to go back to that same pond. It's like, all right, right. There's a difference. And I truly, truly strongly like advise any SE to one, like always check in, like see like what kind of rep am I working with? But the best in class reps, and there are reps that listen to Diary of a Sales Engineer. You want to be the best of the best. You know where to hunt and when to hunt. Like that's just the truth of it. You know when to kill a deal and how to
Mhm.
kill a deal and make sure that you're focused on the right things. You have a year to hit your quota. You don't have to hit your quota month one, month two, month three. You have 12 months to do it. The best thing that you can be doing is making sure that every single month you repeat good process over and over and over again. You do all the little things right. You send the follow ups. You keep on, keep on, keep on. And eventually those deals turn into real live opportunities. That's what the best, that's what the best in class salespeople do. It's just all the little things right all the time. And honestly, like just keep working at it. Like it will happen. The reps that don't hit their numbers are the ones that fish in the wrong places. The ones that don't listen to the strategic feedback from your SE. And then guess what? You get on calls and you're not aligned. It's like SE gets on with you. Right. So if I'm a rep and I'm listening to this and I drag my SE into a call that they've told me they don't want to be on, how do you think your SE shows up? How do you think your SE actually shows up to the call? They're laid back, man. They're not going to talk too much. They're going to say, all right, I'll answer the technical questions I have. But when you have an SE that shows up strategically, I'm somebody here to help you. They'll help you sell your deal. And again, like we show up together. We show up together. Something I've been using recently, Samir, that I really like, Me and my reps, like, and maybe there's like a post in here too on this. Now you got me thinking. I've been saying this, like me and my reps, the reason why we're successful together is we don't show up as one and one. We show up as a team. You know, we show up as the Los Angeles Lakers. We show up as the Chicago Bulls. We show up as the Chicago Cubs, right? There's two of us, but either way, like the concept stays the same. We're a team. We view it like that. There's no individual. It's just us. We are the account team. We work together. We show up together. We win together. We lose together. We figure things out together. And I really think that's what separates like great partnership.
No, 100%. And something I would add on for just like good selling teams in general is knowing when to cut your losses. I think that's a really hard skill to form because wow, we've already done 10 calls with these people. What's an 11th one? You kind of get emotionally invested in it. I think on one of the pods you brought up something like that where like, oh yeah, we were super excited. It was going well. We kept going, and then all of a sudden it didn't close, and we just missed all the signs as we were going it through it because we had rose-colored glasses. And being able to disqualify deals is just as important as qualifying them, but I feel like it's often overlooked because of wanting to pad your pipe or wanting to show that you're doing something, but it's really just a waste of time if you're fishing in the wrong pond. There's no other way of beating around that bush. But I will say, and I think the heart, like if I was listening to us right now, it's like, okay, cool, Ryan and Samir, you're telling me to say no, awesome, but I am like scared to say no. Like, how do I have those conversations? How can I like talk to my rep without it, turning into a fist fight, quote unquote. Like I'm being a little bit extreme, but trying to paint a picture here. And we've talked about it many times before, but it starts with building trust with your AE, which starts with before you even go on any sales calls together, get to know each other. Like you may have just had your sales kickoff, and I hope you took that time to go and meet with your AEs, meet with other people across the organization in person, because that's the easiest way to build trust and relationships. But would say that's like the biggest thing. But in your experience, Ryan, when you've had to say no to reps, how have you approached it? We talked about the negotiation, but if we were to get a little bit more tactical here for our listeners, what's something you could suggest?
Let's dive into the weeds. Actually, let's go into the tall grass here. I think you hit on one thing right away. It's like the first thing you got to do before you ever get on a deal is just learn who your rep is. Get to know each other, right? Get to know each other. But something that I always like to make my new reps aware of the first time we're working together, I like to tell them exactly something like this. Hey, man, what I want to let you know is that we're here to work together and I want to win as badly as you do. And so I want to do whatever it takes to make sure that we close deals and that we win together. So whatever it takes, I want to make sure that we can do that. And I think what that does is one, it eliminates any sort of stereotypical views from AEs to SEs, right? We do a lot of the opposite, right? Of like, I'm an SE, I have a viewpoint into my rep. Let's flip the table. AEs have a viewpoint into us and what we do, right? And so sometimes, like as an AE, I could have a stereotypical view as an SE to be somebody that is timid, that doesn't say much, that just shows up and does technical questions and technical demos while I go and do all the calling, all the extrovert work, while I go do all the dinners and the procurement and I close the deal.
They're
Now, I
also the
think
ones who
like
are
in
putting blockers in the
Yeah,
way. Like we've heard that a
exactly
lot
right.
of
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes my
SEs are
SEs put,
putting
yeah,
blockers, right? They're just here
yeah,
to slow my
they
deal
make
down.
my deals hard.
Yeah.
They make my deals hard. So that could, look, and I do think like in modern SaaS, that's kind of changing a bit more because I do find that like AESE partnerships are really evolving into this team mindset of like, wow, we really can't, I can't do what you do. You can't do what I do. And we can't win without both things existing. Right. So I do think that is ultimately changing, but there are these stereotypical viewpoints that exist. So if I'm an AE, I can view my SE as those ways. So when I say something like that to let them know, like I'm here to win with you, it already destabilizes the conversation to get rid of some of those like preconceived notions that they might have around me and my role because they're saying, wait a second, I'm working with Ryan. Ryan's somebody that wants to win just as badly as I want to win. So they want to help
Hmm.
me sell. They're here to make money. They're here to win deals. They're here for it all to work and partner with me. So I think that's something I would encourage most of you to do. And look, you don't have to do it the first conversation you have. You're working with AEs right now. If you haven't had that conversation, I think it's a good time to pull your AE aside and just tell them, say, look, something I want to clarify with you, Samir, as my rep, is I want to win just as badly as you do. I don't want to be a blocker to you. I don't want to do those things, but it's my job to make sure that we flag for things that are yellow flags, red flags, if we're hearing good things, bad things, and to make sure that we're not wearing those rose colored glasses together, right? Like that's my job is to be the rational sort of viewpoint into this, right? That's our teamwork. I like doing something like that. I honestly find that I've had a lot of success in my career making sure that my reps are aware of that. And typically that gets us really much like quickly on the same page. And then if for whatever reason, like there's something that I say is, hey, this is a technical limitation. We can't do this. We need to let the team know. And my AE's pushing back on me. Hey, do we have to do this? I think we have a deal here if we don't do it. I can push back into that and say, hey, Samir, remember when I told you like I'm here to win just as badly as you are? This is what's going to help us win. We got to slow down to go fast. We got to do things the right way. We got to let them know this stuff because they're going to be an unhappy customer. If we sign them on to be a customer and they're unhappy, that's not going to look good for us either. Like we'll have won the deal, but they'll churn. And so I like doing something like that. I'm not sure if there's like another tactical thing that you do. I'm sure I have
Hmm.
other things, but that's like the number one thing that I think jumps out to me.
I would build on top of that of I'm here to win with you and also share how my comp plan works. Because how I get paid as an SC is slightly different from how you get paid as an AE. And if I share you with, hey, this is what my variable looks like, this is how it's broken down, and you share with me that as an AE, I'm on like a 50-50 base to quota, whatever it is, that can also help both of us understand each other and understand what incentives have been laid out for us so that we can also align on what's best. Because after saying I'm here to win, by then backing it up by this is actually how I get paid and this is how I am being incentivized is showing that I also want to close deals and I also want to close business because I have a explicit reward if I do that. And then some companies that I've worked for, the AEs also were comped on like renewals or if it churned or not. And I've used that in my conversations as like, I know that if a customer churns, there's a clawback on you all. And then that becomes very important when we're trying to sell into a bad deal. It's like, hey, I want you to succeed. I want to succeed with you, but this is a bad deal. Like if we close them, they will probably churn. And that's just going to cause you a clawback in the future. And I think the biggest thing is positioning this as I'm doing this for your benefit. I know it may feel like I'm pulling you back right now, but if we fast forward 1 year down the line, it's going to be a small bump, but it's always going to be up and to the right. Like, so that would be one other like specific thing is don't be afraid to talk about your comp plan structure. Like, what are you being incentivized to do as an SC? How do you, AE's comp plans are fairly straightforward, but every company has different ones. Ours are fairly straightforward, but it's always different. And usually AEs and SCs don't know how each other's are comped unless you tell them.
Yeah. Another thing I'll kind of like jump in there with is that as SEs, it's like, it's much worse for us to sign a customer up and like there's no technical fit. Like it really is. It's going to come back on us even worse than it's going to come back on the rep because the rep is the one that's going to move on to the next deal, go sell some more and get more glory. And when all things technically are not going right, the post sales team is going to come to the SE and say, how did we ever qualify this deal? Like, how did this come through? And then you're going to get dragged into having to resolve some of that stuff. So you got to protect your own time, your own sanity too. And so that's where you have to find a way of understanding when and how and where to push back. And you got to get confident with it. Like get very confident in saying, this is how we do it. And if there's ever a situation in which you're uncomfortable doing that, or you and your AE are like butting heads too much on it, where like you guys can't resolve it alone, it's a perfect time to bring in leadership on both sides. Your manager, their manager. Let's have a realistic conversation around what and how we are going to approach this together. And let's get on the same page. Because when you bring in the leadership, they'll both offer some different insights to like one, back up both of their individual players, right? But then also see the other side of the fence, maybe a little bit and say, okay, what if we do this? And what if we do that? Can we come to a mutual agreement that we can continue moving forward? So that's always a good idea too. Is like get your management team involved if you guys can't resolve it alone. My preference is that you two always resolve it alone. And the reason why, again, you guys are the Lakers, you guys are the Bulls. Like you have a coach, but the best thing that you can do as a team is show up as a team and work together as a team. So, like in my time playing basketball, when we had issues on our team, it's better for like the team captains to address that and resolve it than it is for a coach because it's just better to like have players coach each other at times. Like the coach provides like a very specific insight to tell us how and when and where to do things and put us in the right positions. But like the cohesion of us like has to come internally, right? It has to be like one of those things that your leaders do and one of those things that you work on together. So my preference is that you two always figure it out together. Again, if there's a need, that's why the coaches in this case, the managers are there to help assist you through any of those super hard conversations that need to happen. But also too, like as you're working with somebody new, or even if you're working with somebody right now, and there's something that individual is doing that you don't like, you have to let them know. Like you have to tell them, hey, when you do this, I don't like it, right? Maybe like a good example of this technically is I've been in situations before where reps are like going through and presenting something, or I'm demoing something and they just jump in and say, hey, Ryan, can you just show this right now? It's like, maybe I wasn't planning on showing it. Maybe I don't even have that prepped. Like there's a way to do that. If you work really tightly with your rep and they ask you to do something like that, I have no problem with that because they know you already know how to do that. I'm okay with that. But somebody new, it's a little bit more like, what if I don't have
Yeah.
that thing
What if
prepared
it's not
to do
ready
right
because
now?
it takes some
Yeah, like that could
effort?
distract. It can be a bigger distractor. So then you have to have that conversation offline. So direct feedback always, direct feedback always, and neutralize it. Just have a conversation. Like, hey man, when you're doing this, I find that I can't be the best version of me on these calls. And it puts us in a bad position. And here's why it puts us in a bad position. Similarly, it'd be like me having a rep go through their deck, right? And say, like, hey, hey, this one slide that looks like this? Can you get that one pulled up? It's like, what slide are you talking about? And then the customer, the customer is like,
What is he
what's
saying?
going on here? Right. So it is about working together. It's about winning together. And it is about that idea of like showing up as a team. You got to push back, right? Like, feel free to say things like, why are you offering a POC without consulting me? Like, that's a team decision that we need to make together. Why are you offering an on site 2 days from now and not checking with me to see if my calendar allows for it? You know, why are you booking a meeting over another meeting that I already have on my calendar or a block that I have without asking me? Why are you throwing on a last minute demonstration without running it by me first? Those are all like tactical, good questions that you want to be aware of and feel comfortable to do that. Slack and Teams make it really easy now to just huddle somebody and actually get virtually face to face. I preference, again, you give this feedback in some kind of method, like Samir and I are
Yeah.
talking here. You can always shoot the Teams message or the text message or an email if that's like what you're most comfortable with. But text and things can get misconstrued rather quickly. It's better just to talk with somebody, honestly, way better. They can feel you out. It's like they understand it's not coming from a harmful place. They're like, oh man, I get it. I'm sorry I booked that meeting over your calendar without checking. I didn't realize, when your calendar at, um, 7 to 8:30 says, "Do not book," it's because you're taking your daughter to daycare. It's like, yeah, man, so when you book over that 8 a.m. slot, I can't take my daughter to daycare.
I also can't join because I am am in my car taking her to daycare. Like,
Exactly,
there's
and so
no
that's
way
where,
for me
like,
to do that.
you destabilize that, right? Like, that no misconstruction of anything. No, my SE is just rejecting these calls, even though his calendar just says personal block, right? It's like, oh man, my SE's, you know, turning down that call because he's got to take his daughter to daycare. So of course he can't be available. All right, well, instead of doing the call at 8:30, can I do it at 9? Yeah, man. Look, every time I'm back by 9, that's no problem. I can make 9 o'clock happen.
Mhm.
Perfect. All right, let's do 9 o'clock. We didn't have to do 8:30 anyway, so that works for everybody involved. Like, even I got to tell you, even just like verbalizing all of it, like I can imagine listening to this right now. Ask yourself right now, how does that sound to you? Right? Doesn't that sound good? Doesn't that sound nice? Like, if you're talking to your rep like this, it feels
Mhm.
good. Like, that's a good environment to have a conversation around this stuff.
I mean, another angle to think about, and we do this with our customers, is like coming from a place of curiosity, not like accusation. Of like with your rep, if they're doing something that bothers you or that needs to be addressed, instead of being confrontational, like, why did you do that on the call? It's like, hey, like, I noticed you jumped in during the call. Like, what prompted you to do that? And all of a sudden, you're coming from a place of trying to understand their thinking versus when you jumped in, you really messed up my flow and it was a really bad experience and I didn't like it. It's like, no, let me understand where you're coming from. Oh, when you do that, it causes me to have to see if I had that set up. That takes, 30 minutes to set up beforehand. And, we should strategize if we're planning or thinking about doing it. So I have that ready in my back pocket. And now all of a sudden you can provide context that they might not have been aware of. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes I've asked what prompted XYZ decision for you to make on the call. And it was something that I hadn't even thought was a reasoning. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's actually valid. But in order for us to be successful next time, like we should prep this so that when you do make that or when that arises, I can be ready for it and we're both successfully able to pivot. So I think coming from a place of curiosity is going to be very helpful when saying no to these things. Or why do you think why should we do in your opinion, why should we do a POC and see what they have to say? And sometimes it could just be, oh, isn't that just like the next step after a demo?
Yeah.
And then that's a teaching moment. It's like, no, there's other things we could do. Like these are reasons why we should use a POC, or this is what I think when we should use a POC. And just because we do a POC, do you think that's going to help us lead to the next step of getting to procurement and negotiation? Are they even asking for a POC? Can we get away with just showing them a customized demo to show them their use case? And all of a sudden, instead of a 4 to 8 week POC, we do this in one call. Asking those follow up questions with some decisions that are made has often helped me give a no without maybe not saying no explicitly. That's almost like a Jedi mind trick.
Let's tie this back to the beginning. Hi, so and so. I'm Ryan. I'm your sales engineer. I've worked with many account executives just like you. I've helped them sell many a deals with many a customers that we are going to sell into. And based on my experience, here's some things that have worked really well. So when we're talking and now you're asking me, why shouldn't we do this? Guess what? Well, here's what I've seen from working with many other reps just like yourself of how we drive success. Like the same pitch that you can give to a customer, you can give to your account executives, right? You get to see more deals as an SE. You inherently are going to see more deals. You are going to interact with more industries, with more people, with more buyers. You are going to have more experience in that regard of just seeing things over and over again due to the nature of where we fit and how the sales cycles run. So I get to go talk to the other rep and say, when I was working with another customer that looked just like theirs and they said something just like this, we were able to overcome it at this place by doing this. So that's why we don't have to go down that route. And that's why I'm confident when we tell them this, we can lean on my experience telling other customer this, that it will work for them.
Hey, but Ryan, like I'm new to this role. I just started. I'm like a year in. I haven't worked with as many customers. My AE is a little bit more seasoned, but I do feel that this is not the right choice we should be making for this deal? Like, how do I approach that conversation if I don't have the experience card to pull?
Okay. Hi, so and so. Hi, so and so. Here's what I heard them say. Here's why I feel this way. And here is why I think we need to go forward with this. I know you have a lot of experience working with customers just like this. And I'm curious to know, what are you hearing that's different from my interpretation of the situation?
Again, from the curiosity perspective, trying to understand why they are making a decision that they are making, I think is a key piece of this. And then also being able to defend why we think as SCs that we should be taking a different route and why we're saying no in the first place. And the biggest thing is we're not saying no because we want to stall the deal or like mess it with the deal or anything like that. We're saying no because there is a red flag that we need to address and figure out how best to approach it. And the last case scenario for me as an SC and as a seller is I don't want to disqualify this deal. I want the revenue too. Like, I really don't want to do that. But also, we need to talk about these things can cause more problems if we don't properly address it right now.
And and like a final thought on this too. Just because you say no doesn't mean you are right to stay with your no. What I mean by that is like, we can be wrong and it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to say, look, I thought we shouldn't do this. And now I've heard your side of the coin and maybe we shouldn't say no. That's okay too, right? To say like, you know what? I wasn't thinking about it that way. I understand where you're coming from. That's all right. Let's do that other call with them. I agree. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be the SE that only ever says no. Like, we are encouraging you today to push back and be the SE that does say no in the right situations. But if you're the SE that always says no, your AEs are just never going to want to work with you. So you got to be able to figure out like when and how and where to say no. And then also being open to like when you say no, to hearing them out and saying, you know what? I like what you're saying. I agree with you. Let's move forward with that. That way they know it is a partnership because it is. It really is a partnership. And the more you have that balance of like equal thoughts, equal people making decisions together, the better you are going to work as a team versus working as individuals. So think about that. Show up as a team,
Yeah,
show up
that's a
as the
great
Lakers.
point. It's okay to change your mind if new information comes to light that you're like, oh, given that, yeah, we should absolutely go that route. Like because I was operating under one set of criteria, and all of a sudden we introduce another one, and it's like, okay, that is the best course of action. And I think the key is like my goal is to close this deal too. I want to win. I want to get the revenue. I want to have more checks in my closed one bucket.
This is a good conversation to have too, where like you finish up a call and you say, you get on with your rep, you do a little debrief, and you say something like, hey man, based on who we're talking to and what I'm hearing so far, I just don't know if like us spending 30 more minutes with them is really going to be helpful. So I know you want to set another call, but I got to tell you, I'm just not sure. A might say something like this. You know what, Ryan, I agree with you. I'm hearing some things too that's not making me feel great about this deal. What I'd love to do is just spend 30 more minutes with them and let's just see if there's something else that's there. I'll come back and I'll say, you know what? That's fair. Let's give them 30 more minutes. And we're both in agreement that if we leave that next call and we don't feel really good about where things are going, we'll get rid of it, right? We'll can it. Yeah, let's can it after that one. Agreement, right? I said no to say yes, but I still said no. And after that next call, I have an expectation that if we both feel the same way after that call, we're not even going to have a debate. It's just going to be kicked to the can and we're going to move on.
Yeah. So saying no is important, but being willing to admit when you're wrong is also equally important. It will only increase your ability to close and sell together with your AE if you can be like, oh, that's a good point. I did not think of it that way. You were right. And swallow your pride. We all have it. It's all there. It's okay. But just saying no and then being willing to change your mind if they present information that makes you think differently.
Don't let your ego get in the way of success.
Well, I like that. Don't let your ego get away with success. Well, let's wrap it there.
Let's wrap it there, man. I love it. Let's appreciate everybody for another amazing episode of Diary of a Sales Engineer. We have huge news heading up into our next episode. We have one of our biggest guests to ever grace the podcast. We will have Jeff Wang on. the CEO of Windsurf. We are beyond excited about this episode to drop. So stay tuned. We have amazing things coming this year. We're really like hitting the ground running here in 2026, like we promised on our year end recap episode. Things are starting to hit the ground running. We are very excited. So thank you to all of our listeners for staying with us,
Yep.
continuing to listen, subscribe, share to everybody on your team. We appreciate it all.
Awesome. I'm stoked for that episode. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
See you, everyone. Bye.